Alright, welcome to this day 8 of the 30-day challenge on functional programming. My name is Kome, and from day 1 to day 7 we have covered quite a lot. We have looked at how to use reduce to map keys and transform values. We used set to remove duplicates and duplication. We also used map to remove duplicates for key value pairs. We filtered arrays using predicate functions and much more. Remember, we did all this immutably and following the functional programming principles through this good site called fieldcode.devsip.tech. You can also try it and be able to challenge yourself and master your way up on functional programming. So let's look at today's challenge. The challenge is to create a pipeline executing functions from left to right. So here we have functions, and then you'll be passing values to these functions. And then, of course, from the left to right, if you have 5 functions, you'll apply them to the first function, return the value, apply to the second function, return the value, apply to the third function, and so on. So here, the way we are going to achieve this is we are going to return, we'll call the functions, and then we'll call the reduce so that we can have to look through the functions. So here we have the accumulator, of course the function itself, and then inside here we'll call the function, and then of course the accumulated value, and then the first value, initial value, will be 0. So the first initial value for accumulated value will be 0, will be value, sorry, and then that accumulated values will be passed to these functions consecutively. So I run this and see, I move to the next level, create a reusable pipe function. Okay, so you can do this. So ours is to create a reusable pipe function here. So you can say we have x. So an inner function return x. Then inside here, of course, we'll call the functions array, or the array of functions, and then accumulated value, then the function itself, and then we'll pass in we'll call the function the accumulated values, do this function every time, and then of course the initial function value, or the accumulated initial value for the accumulated will be x, which will be closed over because this is a closure. So we'll pass in x the first time, and then the accumulated value will be updated, and then we'll pass in that accumulated value. So let's see how this goes. Reduce functions dot reduce array method. So I run this. Good, moving to step 3, and I can see step 3 is the same pipe function again. Yeah, let's now do it well. Functions dot reduce passes fixing an accumulator, and then the function itself, and then we call the function to the accumulated values through the functions, and then of course the first value, the first initial value for the accumulated will be x. So I run this. I can see level 3 challenge passed. I go to the next challenge, carry an AND function. So here you can see we are carrying an AND function, so that you can have separate. You can have carrying takes. If you have 10 arguments, you can put them as individual arguments. So every function. So here that is carrying. So here we will carry the AND function. I am assuming you're adding 2 numbers here, let's say A and B. So we'll return A, which will now, you can come inside here. When we return A, so A will be passed in as a parameter, which takes in like this, and then we can come here and return B, which will give us A plus B. So I run this, expecting 8. So return A. Okay, to pass in, there's no, since we already have A, so we'll just return B, which will take in A plus B. Alright. And expecting semicolon. So I'll do away with this. Do you also need, we don't even need that, I think. It's an arrow function, so run. Good, moving to step 2. By adding carry 3 arguments using the arrow function. So here you return A. We already have A. So we return B, which will now Okay, sorry for that. So return B. So we return A. Okay, we return B. Of course, A is there for us. So you want to return also C here. Then you return A plus B plus B plus C, like that. So it receives A again turns, this is the carried functions, 3 arguments. So run this, moving to level 3, and this is the generic carry function carrying any arity. It can carry any number of arguments. So inside here, instead of returning the function, you come and create a constant carry, generic carry function of any arity. It will take in the arguments. This one will be used to collect, we use it to collect arguments, and then inside here you come and compare if the arguments length happens to be greater than or equals to the function length. If it happens to be greater than the function length that we passed in as the function number of arguments here, then we call the function and pass in the arguments. Otherwise, if it happens to be false, then you again want to receive more arguments until they feed in the function's requirement of the length. So you will receive in more arguments, and now this will be another row function that will now take where we will spread. You come here and spread the already existing arguments because they are not enough, and now merge it with the received arguments. Then of the day they will return the carry. And then of course that will help us to have a generic function to do that. So we'll run this. Is a rest parameter must be the last form of parameter. So the rest parameter must be the last form of returning carry there. We have the more. Of course we have to call the carry, sorry. We have to call the carry here and pass in the arguments and the more arguments, spreading the arguments that we had initially and the ones that we are receiving now are new, so that we can test whether they reaches the function's length. So run this. Good, I cleared the challenge. I hope this helped you so much. We have looked at the carrying, function carrying, and so much and much more. So if this pleased you, please follow me at ComeKelvinK on Twitter, and I will appreciate. I hope you learned a lot. Let's meet in day 9 of the functional programming challenge. Thank you so much.